Hello and welcome to Here's to Your Health. I'm your host, Veggie Patty, and it is my pleasure to bring a show to you about healthy living. On today's episode, we have a special guest, Lucinda Reinas. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Patty.
And for our loyal viewers, some of you may recognize Lucinda because we first interviewed her at my gluten-free extravaganza, and then we just interviewed
recently.
you again because you were the chairperson of the Start Living Expo.
Women of Wine Expo, yeah.
So,
Start Living, yeah.
That's right. So I wanted to tell you did a great job on the expo.
Oh,
so
thank you.
Unfortunately, the weather didn't
The
cooperate.
weather did not cooperate, that is for sure. We had a lot of snow.
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully next year, and people can see what was available, and hopefully next year, you'll get more attendees and the weather will cooperate.
I hope so, yeah, I hope so.
But today we're having you on the show because you're going to talk to us a little bit about health coaching. And the reason I wanted to have you on is because this is a hot topic. It's something new that's come about, I'd say, probably within the last 5 to 10 years. And everybody hears health coach, health counselor, and people are a little bit confused as to what it is. And you are a health coach. So can you tell us, first of all, what is your background? How did you get into being a health coach?
Well, I have a degree, actually, from University of Michigan, a Bachelor of General Studies. And then I decided to go with I wanted something different, and actually nutrition has always been close to my heart, so I wanted to do something in that field. And so I started researching, and I joined the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, which is out of New York. And so I got my certification through there.
Okay. So tell us first of all, what is a health coach?
Well, a health coach is someone that works with a client so that they can reach their healthy lifestyle changes, or they set goals and they can reach their goals. And all basically you're going to do is help them reach those goals, guide them, give them moral support, show them different ways to reach those goals. That's basically what you do.
Okay.
But the thing about health coaches is there's all different areas that health coaches go into. Some go into working with children. Some go into working with people who have food allergies. I work with people who are dealing with a lot of stress or stress-related illnesses such as obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, that sort of thing. And then I also work with people who are recovering from catastrophic illness such as cancer, or they had major surgery, or they had heart issues, that sort of thing. So that's what I do. But everybody, a health coach will follow what is near and dear to their heart. And that's
okay. So now you said you went to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition to be a certified health coach. So what did their program entail, just so people, because a lot of people aren't familiar with that institute, and they're not familiar with the training. So what did your training entail?
Well, we go over hundreds of different diets that are out there. Some are the ancient, like Ayurvedic diets, where it's seasonal, local foods. And then they have you're either Kapha or Pitta or Vata, which is spring, summer, and fall, that sort of thing. There's the Atkins diets, there's the South Beach diets, all these different diets that they go over. And the thing that with a health coach is that one diet does not fit all. So that is why we go over all these different diets. And we don't really even like to say diets, but we glean from the information that we get from these diets and work with the people so that they can eat with foods that they're comfortable with, but that are going to help them get healthier.
Okay. So now, is a health coach and a health counselor the same thing?
Yeah, it really is.
Now, how is a health coach different than, let's say, a life coach? Because I know people have heard about life coaches. They've been around for probably a bit longer.
I don't know about life coaches. I don't know where their what their training is, honestly. I'm guessing that they are not so interested in nutrition. I mean, I don't know how deeply they go into that. that's what we do, and we want them to start to make these healthy changes, replace bad habits with good habits, and life coaches, I'm guessing, it's probably the same thing, but I don't know if they're more in nutrition oriented.
Yeah, I don't think they focus so much on health. It's other aspects of
getting their life in order, that sort of thing.
So now you had brought a circle of life, which we will bring that up on the screen.
Okay.
And this is a tool that you said you use.
We use it at the beginning pretty much too, and this is put out by the school, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. So I want to make it very clear that this is their circle of life that they. But it has all these different areas that, and that's the thing with health coaching. We want to make sure that there's a balance, and there's so many facets of your life that you want to make sure that you're growing in those areas, such as your home environment, how much joy do you have in your life, your creativity, your job, your relationships, your diet, your activities, all these things. And so this circle of life, you kind of on each spoke you mark where you're at with it, which being at the very outer circle is you're doing really well with it, and the more it comes into the center of the circle, you're not doing so well. And then you connect the dots, and you see where you're lacking and where you need to work on. And so, all these things, they matter, as far as how healthy you're going to be. Because if you're depressed, or if you're, all of these things, if you're depressed or you're not using your creativity, all these things combine to either make or break you. So you need to, address these things.
Okay, and that's something that you help people with, then besides
Correct.
nutrition. So you're looking at a healthy balance overall. So somebody that, maybe they say, hey, it looks like because I see this a lot with people, is it looks like I have everything. I have a job, and I maybe they have a family, but they're just like, they feel like they're stunted, like they're stuck, and it might be that creative aspect, or contributing to something larger than themselves, and they might be looking for another outlet, and so you could help them.
Right. And it's funny because you get a client and they look at it and they start marking it, and you see it's all around the very center, and then there's one that sticks way out. So there is something that's making them happy, but you need to okay, let's expand this, let's make all of this better for you. And we all know that we're not going to be in balance all the time. It's just not possible. But you want to try to be in balance as much as you possibly can, and so that's what we're working towards.
Okay. So can you give an example of the types of different clients that you have, without obviously revealing personal information, but who are some of the types of people that come to you?
Well, mainly the people that come to me, they want to lose weight. And so that's fine, but you want to make sure that there's all these other things are in place, so that you feel like your self-esteem is increased, so that you feel like, yes, I can do this. Because if you go into it and think you can't, then you're not going to do it. And then I also work with people who are recovering from cancer, or like I said, so basically with them, we just want to get them on a healthy track of with the foods that they're eating, so that they can boost their immunity. Because anybody that's gone through chemo will tell you it just depletes you terribly. It's a horrible, horrible experience. So these are things, and they have no energy. They have they're lackluster. So this is what we do: is we try to get them to eat healthier foods and make better health choices, lifestyle choices, so that they can, boost their immune system.
Okay, great. And I know you had mentioned, like, a lot of people coming to lose weight, and I think probably one of the benefits of going to a health coach, because people are thinking, well, I want to lose weight. I can go online and I can, maybe they heard of the South Beach diet, or maybe they heard of, going all on raw foods or something like that. And I think what people don't look at is the whole their whole life. So if they're super stressed out from something else, and they're one of those people that stress helps them to hold on to their weight, then they're going to have a difficult time losing it no matter what program they try. And so that's something you can help people with, is saying, well, the problem with why you happen to be overweight could be more than just food and more than what you're eating. And so you help and look at all aspects of their life to see if there's another area that's impacting their weight.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, activity and spirituality, all of those things, yeah. So if they're lacking, like you say, then that's going to add to their weight gain, yeah. And habits, I had a client that every morning, instead of eating breakfast in the morning, she would rush to work. She never gave herself enough time, and she would rush to work, and she would have a stop at the coffee shop and have a donut and coffee, and that was what she ate. Well, that's not a real nutritious breakfast, as we all know.
Right.
So so this is what we worked on. Okay, you have to start looking at ways to give yourself more time in the morning, and have a breakfast. What do you like? What kind of breakfast do you like? Well, I like oatmeal. So okay, then we're going to start making oatmeal, or we're going to have cereal, or she started really getting into that. So then she started eating her breakfast, but every time she would forget to, or didn't have time, or rushed, and she would go to or she would run to work without eating, straight for the donut, and the coffee. So that was a habit that we had to really work on to break.
So if somebody is interested in health coaching, what do they expect? What can they expect as far as the actual process is concerned? I mean, how many times do you normally meet with a person? Is it you meet with them for a short time and then they resolve the problem and they're done, or is it a long, year-long relationship?
It's a 6-month program, basically. I mean, sometimes it may just take. I volunteer for the Clinic for the Working Uninsured. And sometimes, if they want to get their sugar under control, if you just say, okay, this is what this is what we should do, or how you should work this, I mean, that's all it takes. But for the majority of people, 6-month program, and we meet twice a month, and we have a whole program that we go through step by step, and we talk about what's been happening, because it's every 2 weeks that we meet, so we talk about what's been happening for those 2 weeks. We look at new material, what we're going to do for the next 2 weeks, and it's always up to the client. They have to decide, and I always ask them, so what are we going to do for the next 2 weeks? How are we going to make our healthy changes for the next 2 weeks? What are we going to do? And so they have to come up with these ideas. It's it's up to them.
Okay, so that's a little bit. So you're combining some education, obviously, because people, that's what they're coming to for, is expertise. And then also, I'm assuming that there's some, you're kind of holding them accountable. So that's a check-in point where they say they're going to do something, and now they have to report to somebody and be accountable to somebody else.
Yeah, and they always say that I have to, if they're reaching for that donut or that candy bar, they say, oh, I think about Lucinda, and she's probably going to say that wasn't a good thing to do. So then they stop themselves, and if I do that, I'm happy. But they have to, and eventually that will come around to their own way of thinking, and they'll say, no, I don't need that. Or, it won't be me looking over their shoulder, or the devil and the angel on the shoulders. So it won't be me doing that. It'll be them, and that's why it's 6 months, by the way, because it takes about that long for a person to integrate healthy changes in their life.
Okay, and then now, do you also work with people, like if their doctor said, let's say they have heart disease, and their doctor said, well, I need you to eat this certain way. You're able to work with them based on their doctor's advice and make sure that they're following that plan. Because a lot of times I know it's difficult for people to, they can follow up with their doctors, but your insurance doesn't always let you have so many appointments. So they might check in, once every 6 months after. So is that something that you would take on as well?
Yeah, doctors, many health coaches work with doctors, and they the doctor will actually refer the patient to them to make these changes, okay, this is what he has, diabetes or heart disease, or, so we need for them to, back off the, the steak and the high fat and butter and all of that, and we need to make, some healthy changes. So, yeah, that is a possibility. I mean, some work with chiropractors, and some work through health food stores, or different areas. There's a million different places that you could be working as a health coach.
Right, and that's probably why people are seeing it pop up so much more now. Is 'cause like you said, is a doctor could bring somebody in to help work with their patients because they can't do the one-on-one that some of the patients require, or health food store might be for some people that are just looking to go to the next level with their health.
Sure, yeah.
So and I know with the health coaching, obviously it's not covered by insurance because it's our insurance needs to catch up on a lot of these alternative treatments, but it's something that's not covered.
Yes. I hope that in the future that will change. I know that sometimes, one of my clients was trying, she was allowed so much money for health choices, or they give you a set amount of money, and she was trying to use that to pay the fee. I mean, I don't know if it worked, or I don't know. I never heard any more about it, and I didn't ask her. But
okay, so probably it's up to individual plans if they have those flexible spending accounts. So people can look into that and see if that's something that's covered, if they're really interested in something like that.
And actually, it should be. I mean, because you're really making you're making these changes that will allow you to not have to go to a doctor so much, and use up your insurance.
So it's prevention.
Yeah. It's prevention, yeah, exactly.
Great. So now, can you tell us what type of success do you normally see with clients?
I've seen really great success, and it always makes me feel so good. I mean, I just, when I see them, it doesn't always work out that way, but when I see them say, no, I'm going to eat this, and and then I had one that her husband would just absolutely, she was all for it, and she was making all these great changes, and then he started to see, because he wouldn't eat, he never ate vegetables, he only ate meat, he loved hamburgers, all of this stuff, and so he would, he would see how she was progressing, and her skin started to clear up, and it was glowing, and her hair was, nice and thick, and he says, wow, you're really making these great changes. So now he's starting to, incorporate some of these changes. Not, it's not overnight or anything, but you see it, and it's a wonderful experience to see this,
And people have to want to change, and they have to be ready to change. And you can give somebody as much information as you want. You can beat them over the head with it.
Exactly.
But if they're not ready to make that change, then, like I tell people, Jen, just take that information and store it until later, until you are ready, if you ever are ready.
Yeah.
So now you also are a vegan cook. So some of the things that you do is you actually help people with recipes, or if they're really, because a lot of people are fast food, microwave dinners, and they don't know how to boil water.
Right.
So is that something you can help people with as well as a coach?
Yeah, we do. We in fact, with some of the clients, we cook a meal, or we cook a recipe, and I give them recipes for grains, different grains and greens, and all the different health foods. We did a red lentil curry that. One of my clients, just to this day, she makes that all the time. She loves it. But and I give them cooking lessons. Okay, this is what we're going to make, and we make it at a session, and they get to take it home with them, and they get the recipe, and they get to try it, and see if they like it. And usually they do. They're surprised. I am vegan, but I don't push it on others. If they don't want to eat, if they want to eat meat, that's fine, But I do like for them to at least try it and experience it, and maybe even just a couple of times a week go vegan, you know, to start. And then if they see that they like, you know, they like what they're eating, then they might expand it more and more. But, you know, you can't cram it down their throat.
Right. And regardless of how they eat, just by the fact that they were adding more fresh fruits and vegetables into their diet is going to help them.
It's going to help,
tremendously.
yeah. And drinking more water. How much water do you drink? You know, that's a big
Right.
question. And they, well, I don't, you know, I drink, you know, maybe a glass to take my pills with in the morning. You know, that's it, you know. So you want to, okay, you got to start drinking more water and just, you know, all these things that you know you're supposed to do them.
Right.
And they know that. But they just don't have anyone that's saying, okay, you got to do this, you know, you got to start doing this.
Sometimes they just need a little push in the right direction.
Exactly, yeah.
So can you tell us, do you have a favorite story from one of your clients, like you know, somebody that maybe was a little bit resistant at first, or a great transformation, or?
Yeah, I do. I have a one gentleman that was way overweight. He was probably, I think he's about 5'9", but he weighed like over 300 pounds, and just started coming to me, and we started talking, and there was so much going on in his life that needed to come out, you know. And so in the first 3 months, he lost 20 pounds. So it was just that, and then, you know, and of course incorporating the water and, you know, less meat and all that. But yeah, and he was just so grateful that he could talk to somebody and you know, address issues that really didn't have so much to do with, you know, what are you eating? Of course, we always go over that stuff, but it was other things in his life, as I said before, the balance thing, that were making him grab for that. You know, it's stress.
Right.
You know, oh, I gotta have, this will make me feel better if I eat this candy bar, or if I have this ice cream, or, you know. So that's the story.
Great, and that's what we were talking about at the beginning, and what I was alluding to is sometimes when people are overweight, it's really not about the food that they're putting into their bodies. It's about everything else that's going on with them that affects how their body is reacting and processing the food, and so they can't process food correctly, or they don't store it correctly, or they have these nervous habits or stress habits.
Yeah. Well, he would always say, I don't eat that much. And I said, you don't know what you're eating, you know, and that's true. I mean, he had no idea. I says, you need to write down, just for a day or two, everything that you eat. I said, you don't even know you're eating it when you're eating it. And it was true. He says, you're right, I did not know that. You know, because he was just, like you say, just grabbing, grabbing things, you know, chips and, you know.
So to sum it all up then, health coaching is really about going in and helping somebody to improve all aspects of their life so that they can lead a healthier lifestyle. So it does focus on nutrition, but it's not just nutrition.
Right.
It includes other aspects of their life. So are there any final messages that you'd like to let people know about health coaching, or just tips in general about healthy living?
Well, I would say one of the most important things is to stay hydrated. We don't do that enough, and so that's always the first thing that I have a client start doing, is drinking more water, and getting rid of the sodas, and, you know, which is like one of my, it's on my top 5 of the worst things that you can consume is soda. So that's right there, and dairy, if you can give that up. Just try it for 2 weeks, you know, just try it for 2 weeks and see how you do with it, because dairy is just one of those things that really messes your whole system up, in my opinion.
Well, we've talked about that some on the show, is that it does cause inflammation, and a lot of people, more people are allergic to it than realize they're allergic to it.
And it's an obsession. I know someone that he just has to have ice cream, and every night, you know, he gets the milk out, and then he gets the ice cream out, and he's just so inflamed, you know, his face and his, you know, body, and it's the dairy. You gotta let it go, you know.
Yeah. So sometimes the message that a health coach might tell you is something that you don't really want to hear, and a lot of times it's things people suspect, and they just don't want to admit it.
Right.
But if you're open to the process, that's part of it, and you have to just
Right.
be open to it. And so I wanted to, we're coming at the end of the show now,
Oh,
so I
okay.
wanted to thank you so much. I know it
Well,
went by
thank
fast,
you.
right?
Yeah, it sure did.
So I want to thank you so much for coming on and talking
Well,
about
thank you,
health
Patty.
coaching, and we have your information up on the screen if
Okay.
anybody wants to contact you directly.
All right.
So remember that no matter the cards you were dealt or your current state of health, you have the power to take charge of your health. So never give up and never stop learning. The solution you seek may be just around the corner. If you can join me in a toast.
Oh,
This is
absolutely.
our cucumber juice. I hope that some of the viewers finally started trying it since we've been putting it on every week. I wish you a wonderful today and an even better tomorrow. Here's to your health.
Hear, hear.